What is happening, everyone? It's your boy Dion, and I am back at you guys again with another casual geographic reaction video. So today we're going to be taking a look at another video. This one right here is why mooses are the greatest threat to national security. Yeah, I actually believe it. Like, have you guys ever actually seen a moose in real life? Oh man, never want to be anywhere near them. But yeah. I hope you guys enjoy my reactions. If you are, be sure to hit the thumbs up button and subscribe down below for more videos just like this one. Make sure you like me, love me, and talk to me down below. And let's jump directly into the video.
Are one of those animals. Now, what do I mean by that? I mean that you could look at this picture 900 times, and the 901st will still put bricks in your pants. Also, fun fact, this picture is probably the reason you even know I exist. One of the first animal videos I ever made was dedicated to how much of a middle finger this was to my peace of mind. What was true back then is still very much true today. At up to 1,700 pounds and 7 feet tall, at the shoulders, the moose is always going to be one of those animals God forgot to put a size cap on. Moose are part of the Capreolinae deer family. Only problem is this Roy deer is closer in size to an elephant than to a full-grown Bambi.
Yeah.
Because you probably think I'm blind, the largest Alaskan moose ever caught was 1,808 pounds and 10 feet tall if you count the antlers. But why wouldn't you? Moose are broken in many ways, but the most obvious is how god big they are.
Yeah. Back up, bro. Back up, bro.
The problem with being built like a truck with antlers is that very few things in nature have the ability or the audacity to ever try to check you. And while moose calves are obviously vulnerable to predators, there just aren't enough things in the world that are bold enough, desperate enough, or stupid enough to want smoke with a full-grown bull moose. And while wolves might hunt them, even a wolf pack will hesitate to test a healthy male moose's ability to turn you into past tense. And as solitary hunters that occasionally get their pushed in by smaller animals like the guanaco, most cougars won't even bother with a full-grown moose. In some places, grizzly bears have been known to murk adult moose, but when the only thing in your area code that has even a chance of humbling you is literally one of the largest predators on the planet, that is a problem. And if you're 10 feet tall, pushing 2,000 pounds, wearing tree branches for a hat, a bear isn't going to try you unless it's its last possible option. Which is why one of the biggest threats to a healthy, full-grown bull moose is an even bigger, aggressive bull moose. And that's because of what I can only describe as a dick move from nature. The same antlers that help it get laid are often what gets it laid to rest. Sometimes fighting males will get their antlers locked together, and that's basically a death sentence. Those two moose that are stuck together and can't break free will either starve to death, die of exhaustion, or a lucky bear will find them and take the 2 for 1. Exhibit A, these are 2 male moose that got locked together and ended up freezing in a lake. And speaking of lakes, moose can swim. Because of course they can. I don't know who told them, a moose somehow figured out there's a good amount of food in lakes, so they'll dive up to 20 feet down to feed on the aquatic plants and vegetation at the lake bottom. It's better swimmers than me. It's really not uncommon to see a moose swimming in an inlet connected to the sea or phelpsing between islands as they search for food. And at this point, you probably know exactly what direction this video is about to go in. Because this right here is how this ends up happening.
Yeah.
Because the moose is basically defenseless in the water, and because orcas always choose violence, the killer whale is the only known marine predator of the moose. To be fair, Greenland sharks have been found with moose remains in their stomach, but for my mental health, we're gonna assume the moose were already dead. But the truly messed up part is the only reason the moose even put themselves in this position is because they were looking for food. It's like finding a shortcut to Stop and Shop and then getting clapped in the car at a red light on the way there.
Wow.
See humans as a reliable food source. At least once in the history of mankind, some guy lived through this and probably never slept well ever again.
Yeah.
So his therapist drives a Bentley. And that's basically a walking snowplow. An adult moose can sprint through 6 feet of snow at about 15 miles per hour. Those numbers might not mean much to you, but I can personally guarantee you this video will. Now ask yourself what's scarier, this moose running through snow or what in the possible it could be running from. And then
the thing that is running from.
I don't even really know how to describe this. 2 options, either the water's shallow or that's Jesus Christ in moose form. The Moosiah, if you will. For an animal that's dead-ass big enough and tall enough to have its own Wi-Fi, moose can sprint at top speeds of 35 miles per hour. Usain Bolt at his best maxed out at just under 28 miles, meaning not even he could run from the smoke. Now there's probably 2 reasons why you've never seen a moose run at top speed. Well, number 1, when you're built like a tree with legs, there isn't a whole lot in the world you need to run from. And number 2, anyone that manages to motivate a several 100-pound moose into breaking an Olympic record probably isn't going to be alive to talk about it.
For real.
With bears, cougars in Florida, the most dangerous animal of all is a 10-foot vegan with antlers. But it's not really their fault. Moose are deer, and as a rule, deer are just menaces to society. In America, deer cause about 1 million car accidents a year and about $1 billion worth of damage to add on top of it. And the moose is by far the worst deer to hit. On a scale from 1 to absolutely your bunkmates would whoever's ever on the road with you. They say you should never swerve to avoid hitting an animal 95% of the time because you can lose control of your vehicle and end up hitting something way worse. At 5% is reserved for when this is on the road, because if your choices are hitting a moose or swerving, then your next choices are opened or closed casket. And because moose are so disrespectfully tall, hitting a moose often means taking out his legs. Bigger you are, the harder you fall. Only problem is moose are so goddamn big that they can often fall through your windshield and then put you on a headline. The worst part is because they're so tall, their eyes don't reflect in your headlights the way they would for a normal-sized deer. That combined with their blatant disregard for anyone else's life means in moose country you can easily go from a person to
Oh, god dang!
According to the internet, if you're about to hit a moose, the best advice is to slow down, don't swerve, and pray to whoever you believe in. Just know that if it ever comes down to your car versus the moose might walk away, but you're not coming out of there without wings and a halo. But of course, moose don't need to be on the road to put you on a stretcher, and this is what makes them worse than the cougars and bears of the world. Predators like mountain lions or grizzlies don't normally see humans as happy meals, so most encounters are either territorial because some dude was either unlucky enough or stupid enough to get too close to their cubs. These guys are different. Different as in they'll river dance all over your back and they don't really need a reason to do it. As big as they are, they're still a very much valuable prey animal, especially if they're young or sick. And due to the generational trauma of being constantly hunted, moose are naturally wary, which makes them much more likely to attack unprovoked. It gets worse when people forget that they only have one chance at life and attempt to waste it by feeding a moose. This often leads not just moose but wild animals in general to associate humans with food, and with association comes expectations.
Yeah.
A moose that's constantly been fed by humans is only going to expect food whenever it sees them. In a moose's head, it just makes sense. And failing to meet a moose's expectations is exactly
You're
what
gonna just get angry and just attack you.
Volatile when it's in rut. For those of you that don't know what rut is when male animals like camel or deer experience a surge in testosterone, which causes them to become more aggressive and more interested in mating. And for those of you that already know what rut is, I know how you know. And for moose, this surge in testosterone turns them into temporary frat boys on spring break, and sometimes they cause just as much damage.
That was the video I saw.
People visit the emergency room because they got
the dude was like, nah, bro, I'm just gonna go inside.
Sometimes moose cut out the middleman completely and just pull up to hospitals themselves.
He's such a precious animal, but like, yo, they get mad aggressive for no reason at all.
Tried to domesticate these deer on steroids and then ride the tanklers into battle on a moose cavalry. Results were mixed. Once again, as a prey animal, the moose were naturally terrified of gunfire, and many of them refused to allow themselves to be ridden into battle. Not to mention the moose were much more susceptible to diseases and much harder to feed than horses, so yeah, it was up for that.
Yeah.
But there had to have been one kid that joined the military to pay for college, only to have his ops pull up on a whole-ass moose. If we're being honest here, that story just says more about the Soviet Union than it does about the moose. But back to the moose. Are overgrown all-terrain vehicles with legs, antlers, and audacity, and probably the reason Canadians are so polite. They're landlords of moose and they pay taxes to geese. You'd be humble too. Pretty sure this is the part of the video where I'm supposed to tell y'all to subscribe. Have a nice day. So moose drop their antlers every year but grow them back in the spring because they use them flex for females. And at first the antlers grow inside this soft skin with tiny hairs called velvet. But eventually the moose has a surge of testosterone where they basically become 7-foot frat boys on spring break. That's when the velvet sheds and the bones of the antlers harden. The velvet stays on the antlers for about 3 to 4 months until the moose rubs up against trees and bushes to remove them. Which is why they look like they bundied somebody. As much of a hate crime as this looks like, it doesn't hurt the moose at all, and it's a lot like snakes shedding their skin. If anything, it's more like an annoying itch. Also, when a bull moose wants to pull a female, they use cologne just like you and me. Except their version involves digging a pit, peeing into the pit, and then rubbing and splashing a golden pool all over their antlers the R. Kelly way. Clearly they know what they're doing because
What
smelling
the
liquid
fuck?
sunshine causes the female moose to ovulate because nature's just weird like that.
Wow. That's just crazy. Mooses are freaking ridiculous. Some people really tried to go ahead and make mooses. Like, they tried to domesticate moose and make it to where they would be able to ride moose into battle. Like, you have a tough time doing that with horses. Why would you do that with a moose? A moose isn't like an animal that you want to like actually be heavily around, like talking about it. Don't get me wrong. They're amazing animals. But at the exact same time, they're heavily aggressive. It's like a hippo. Like the hippo is the worst animal you could possibly go around because they try to kill people or anything, like any chance they get. I think the only thing that they even have a close relationships are with are crocodiles. But yeah. I hope you guys enjoyed my reaction. If you are, please be sure to hit the thumbs up button and subscribe down below for more videos just like this one. Make sure you like me, you love me, and you talk to me down below. And I'm going to see you guys in the next video. Peace.